Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Prairie Banana, and welcome to the channel where we dive into the best of Pulse Chain, pTGC, and UFO, the two powerhouse tokens known as the Grays currencies. Whether you are a beginner or looking to go deep, I've got the insights, the connections, the strategies, and the numbers to show you where the real growth is happening. So hit the like and sub right now, and let's get into it. Good morning, Snowflake. It's good to see you. Good morning, David. I don't know if you're still here, David, and we got to go live on Spaces because this is how we do it around here. We're doing Spaces on my X this morning. So we'll see. This is all different. This is all new. We'll see how this goes. My mic is on. We're live on X. And Zen will not be here today. Hi, Ray Doku. Zen will not be here today because he's traveling. He won't be here Monday either. I've got Spaces scheduled also for Monday. We will see how that goes. Actually, I think I've done it. Have I done a space on my channel before? On my X? I think we used to do it on my X maybe, and then we switched over to the main account. Yeah, that's how we used to do it. So I've done it here before. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. Should be old hat. No, I just got I'm a little rusty. That's what it is. I'm a little rusty. Who's going to come in? There's nobody popping in yet. Oh, there's David. How's it going, David? So we'll see who comes up. If you guys want to jump in and, if you got questions on YouTube, you can type them into the chat. If you want to come up and talk, you can raise your hand and I will hand you the mic. But I do have some things I wanted to talk about. I have been following this guy on YouTube. I should find his channel. I don't even remember his name. Man, I bet I can find it, but I can give you guys the skinny on what I got from this guy this week. Hi, Eagle. Eagle AI is in the chat. I mean, on X. This gentleman has been putting videos out about, two videos back to back about Ethereum, more like 3, I think. Listen, do you guys know that there's something like 60 crypto ETFs that the SEC needs to make a decision on by the end of October? 60. What if they approve half of them? What if they approve half of those 60 ETFs? I don't know. I think that, the market turning green since yesterday might just be a precursor of things to come. We will see. We will see. But here's some takeaways that I got from this gentleman. There are a number of companies, and I think I talked about this on my stream on Wednesday, but there are a number of large firms, large companies that know that they need to get some holdings in crypto, and they're after Ethereum. Like, I'm not saying that, hi, Stylist, I'm not saying that nobody's buying Bitcoin, that these companies aren't buying Bitcoin, but they are noted for, and this gentleman on the video showed the evidence. I couldn't see it because I was driving. I just listened to him, but he's reading posts or whatever, highlighting these companies, that about 20 of them that are looking to take enormous positions in Ethereum. I mean, these people want like 50,000 Ethereum. They want 500,000 Ethereum. And in total, these companies are looking to scoop up like more than 1 million Ethereum. And they all want whale positions. They want whale positions in Ethereum, but it gets better. What they want to do with the Ethereum is just hodl it. I mean, they're probably going to just hodl it and borrow against it. So they're going to keep it, but it gets a little better. What they're going to do with it is stake it. So not only are they intending to just keep it, but they want to stake it and just enjoy the passive revenue. So what does that mean? Once these firms get their hands on the Ethereum that they want and they've staked it, the likelihood of them moving it is, I don't know, it's probably up to their board members. But once they stake it and then they're enjoying those passive rewards, they're not going to move those Ethereum. So that is bullish for the price of Ethereum, in my estimation. So I will try to find that guy's channel. He has a unique delivery, this gentleman. He's very, very unique. I mean, the first time I listened to him, I was like, who is this guy? But he has a lot of subs on YouTube, and he seems to know what he's talking about. Paul Barron channel? No, it's not Paul Barron. Hi, Lemonade. Let me see if I can find out what channel that is, and then I can let you guys know. Hopefully I subscribed to him, to be honest. I don't even know if I have or not. Does anybody care to come up and chat? You got any questions on YouTube? It's going to be quiet today because the chatter box is gone. You think it's Paul Barron channel? Yeah, I don't think it's Paul Barron. I mean, it could be. I'm like I said, I'm really not super familiar with him. So, yeah, and I'm streaming now and on Spaces, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to actually find it. Yeah, we'll do that later. I'm going to have to do that later. If you guys ever stream, you know what I'm talking about. Like your bandwidth just kind of just gets really narrow. Well, what's happening, guys? Is there anything happening? I think we're going to talk about some stats. We're going to look into and review some stats. Here's the thing we can all do. Vote on PLS Folio. I'm pretty sure I have about an hour left before I can go vote. I got in my office early this morning and checked, and I had some time. I had to kill some time before I could go vote, but vote on PLS Folio. Good afternoon, TS Pedro. Paul Barron channel. I'm going to look that up, actually. I am not going to ignore that. That might be a little birdie whispering into my life about a channel I should be listening to. Paul Barron channel. Paul Barron. PaulBarron. It'd be funny if it's actually the one. No, it's not him. Not him. He's got 194,000 subs, though. Well, who was that?
Hey, how you going?
Doing good. How's it going, Coon?
Good, man. Good.
Super.
Are we going to talk about October?
Yes. Yeah. I think we're going to talk about October.
Absolutely.
I just mentioned it. I mean, were you here from the beginning?
Sorry, no, man. Just jumped in now.
Okay. So I was mentioning that, I don't know if you know this, I've said it a couple of times, like on my streams, but there are something like 60 different ETFs that the SEC needs to decide on by, I want to say, the end of October.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's big. And then, did you hear what I was talking about Ethereum?
Yeah, I caught the gist of that. Yeah, that potentially there's big buyers, they're institutional buyers, and if they buy them, then they're going to hold them for a while.
Yeah. Yep. Hold them and stake them. Enjoy the rewards. Yep.
All positive. That's all positive.
Absolutely.
It can't hurt us, that's for sure.
What did you say?
It can't hurt us, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yep. You know what's weird though is that I mean, right now, the sentiment on Pulse Chain is very bearish. I mean,
the worst I have ever seen. The worst.
Sure. I believe
it's
it.
The lowest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It really is.
People are, I'm sure people are bailing just left and right.
Yeah, man. It's the lowest I've ever seen. It's the fact that RH is just throwing out some really bizarre, not aligned with his usual thinking tweets, blocking people where, freedom of speech, matters for him, but doesn't matter for his community. It's just strange. Anyway, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he blocked his own brother. He blocked, Backwards Hat Dad reached out to me yesterday. He's like,
yeah.
Richard Hart blocked me for no reason. No apparent reason. I'm like, well, just consider yourself blessed. You got blocked by Richard Hart.
I tried to get blocked. I didn't get blocked. Anyway, whatever.
Okay, I was talking to Zen and I were talking yesterday, and I was like, listen, I about came unglued, man. I was getting so excited. Richard Hart has been on a rampage trying to shake people out, right?
Yeah.
And how long has this been going on? I think it's more than months. I think it's been for years.
Man, it's been for years. It's been for years. And to tell you the truth, I'm actually finding this quite comical now. I think activity creates activity. Like, start blocking people. Let's start getting a little bit of anger and energy in the space. Let's start getting a bit of just some serious heart coming through. And people have been here for 4 years plus, and like, you need to express your feelings. How do you fucking feel? How does everyone feel? Because you can't be praising him all the time if it's been only, PLS has been only down and to the right for 4 years. No. So he needs to hear how the community really feels.
Okay.
And we're still here. We're not going anywhere. We're the ones in the trenches. We're here.
Yep.
So step up, Richard Hart. Let's go. Q4 2025.
Mm-hmm. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. He's been blocking people. He's not blocking people, but he's been trying to shake people out for a number of months, if not years. Just wait until he's done. Wait until he turns around and he starts being like, all right, boys, come on in. Water's fine. Everybody come back and bring your friends. Just wait. Just wait.
It's funny. Yeah, I agree with you, but just wait. But what does that look like? Does that look like him streaming again? Is he going to start, jumping on crypto banter and having interviews with the key KOLs not in Pulse Chain, but all over crypto? Like, what does that look like?
Right.
So it's exciting to see what October, November, and December is actually going to bring to our space, our blockchain. Because fireworks, really, I'm backing fireworks are going to start happening. And if they don't in 2025, then a lot of people are going to have some serious rethinking of investing, in this blockchain moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like that you said October, November, December, because you know what? One thing I'm tired about in crypto is, October is going to be great, or like March is going to be great. Oh, April is going to be great. May is going to be great. We've heard it.
It never was.
And
it never was.
Yeah, never was. Now
we always say next week or next month, and this cycle is just taking so much longer for anything to happen than any other cycle, because altcoins haven't had a serious run together. There hasn't been that old season, euphoria. So
yeah. Yep, it's coming. We're just waiting on Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point, to be honest. And I think that's what Richard Hart is waiting on also. He's taken advantage of the situation, though, and shaking people out before Ethereum runs. Which is probably one of the reasons he is starting this blocking rampage, is because he knows Ethereum is about to run, and it's hopefully his last tactic to shake out more weak hands from the chain. And then once that's done, Ethereum's has a confirmed all-time high,
yeah, man.
you know, then it'll be on.
Because I never thought of it that way. Like maybe he does see this as the last opportunity to just get rid of that dead weight. That's going to be, you know, a lot heavier to get rid of higher up than it is now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it's tough, you know, it's tough, especially for people that are going, like, I think I'm finally have a full cycle under me, but my first uptrend going into, you know, 2021, I was so brand new. It was exciting, but I didn't understand market cycles. So this is my first one.
Man. But you know what? This shakeout, I mean, from since Pulse Chain launched all the way to now, has been a longer shakeout than anything else I've ever seen or experienced. Like seen back on the history of charts or experienced since 2020 crypto. So
yeah,
like I was, you know, sort of going through other live streams and jumping on chats and everything. And Hex at its inception didn't have to deal with, you know, down and to the right for plus 2 years. It dealt with down and to the right as a shakeout for 6 months max. And then you're in the green. Yeah, you might have had 8% dips, but you're in the green.
Sure.
If you bought Pulse Chain at SAC, you know, at the pre sacrifice stage, that was plus 4 years ago, you are 70% in the red right now.
Yeah.
Which most of us are, because we haven't moved those bags. Well, I know I haven't anyway. So that means that the shakeout from Hex at its inception to the shakeout of Pulse Chain from its inception is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Very different.
Yep. So yeah, the next few months could prove to be very exciting, but it's difficult. I mean, right now to think how it could go because of all of the negative, you know, bear market for like 3+ years. It's difficult to, you know, our recency bias is pretty rough. You have to admit.
No, it's very rough. And you know what the funny thing is, like, even me, I have to admit that I'm in that camp at the moment that I can't even fathom PLS doing 100x. Like, it's so outside of what we've experienced over the last 4 years that it would be even a 20x would feel like absolute euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what's going to catch us offside? Is the fact that when it does start running, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it does start running in 2025, that it's going to catch so many current investors, the ones in the trenches that are here now, offside, because we haven't even seen a 10x on PLS.
Mm-hmm.
So they go and sell on a 5x. They sell 50% of their stack, you know, on a 5x, and majority of the stack on a 10x. But then the thing goes and runs another 80x on top of that. And then you miss out because you've had recency bias for 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are the things you got to think about.
Yeah. Some people will, you know, sell on a 10x. Others will sell on 20x, 30x. You know, they're just going to be selling all the way up. But there will be people that are waiting also for the 100x. They're going to sell there. They're going to sell some there.
Yeah, man. And then you know what? The 100x comes and they sell their entire stack, and then they watch it go to a 300x. That'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, my prediction for Pulse Chain, or my hope for Pulse Chain prior to the mailing campaign, was 100x. I was like, we should do 100x. Now I've 5x'd it now. It's 500x with mail
right.
campaign going out, because that's going to bring two things about that campaign. A, it's going to bring people directly into Pulse Chain that receive the devices. B, the organic growth just from people that got the devices that are now telling their friends and relatives about what they just discovered. And then C, the entire thing is plausible deniability for RH to potentially pump the chain on his own. So I'm uber bullish on Pulse Chain just because of the mail campaign. And I think a lot of people, like, if you have no experience in business, sending out, and advertising something like a business, if you have no experience, you don't understand the potential impact. I have literally done postcard mailing, and my first time when I sent out, whatever it was, 5,000 postcards to a certain zip code, and my phone started ringing, I was like, wow, this really works. It does. I mean, direct to consumer marketing, like in their mailbox, where they have to physically pull your product out of their mailbox and make a decision on it. It works. It absolutely does.
I've been skeptical up to this point, but hearing what you've got to say now about the direct, the direct marketing straight to the end user and cutting out all the middle parties, then you could be 100% right. And here's the funny thing, like, you think about it, there will be people that want to sell on a 2, 5, and 10x, get out completely. But then game theory comes in. So if it's going to do what you'll say it's going to do, as in just Pulse Chain, it goes and does a 20, 50, 100x. They get out on a 5 or 10, and they watch it continue to go up. The game theory basically describes that they're going to jump back in at a higher price. So the people that Jeep too early with their entire stack are going to end up pushing up the price higher as it goes. And then on top of that, Banana, if Pulse Chain does what we're just saying now, what we're describing, what's UFO going to do? What's pTGC going to do? And then you're thinking that, the latest investors into pTGC and UFO that want to just get out on a 5 or 10 or 20x, will end up doing the game theory. Same thing. They'll jump back in and then wear a multiple on top of PLS.
Yeah. So, we're going to do multiples on top of PLS. That's pretty clear.
Well, that's just crazy, man. It's crazy to think about those multiplication numbers, because they just become, for recency bias, people in the trenches like us, they become almost fictional. Yeah. So.
Yeah, my favorite. I just looked at since we pumped yesterday, I just finally remembered to look at my favorite metric, which is the ratio of pTGC to PLS. And we are up. Let me get this on the daily. Oh yeah, man. We're up in PLS terms. We bottomed out at, let's see, looks like 6.7.
Yeah, it was just on the 7. It was just on the 7-1.
I missed that one. Well, that was a wick. And then now we're up.
That wick, they're getting like the lows. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and they're getting those nice juicy prices.
Yeah. So congratulations, whoever.
Well done for those troopers.
Yeah. Sure. And we're up 15% from that wick down against Pulse Chain. And, at this time last year, at the end of August last year, we were 1-1. Now we are nearly 8-1. We have been as high as 22-1, 22 pulse per pTGC, and we're up to 7.8 right now. And it's probably, if history repeats, and it does, we will be moving up against the L1 Pulse Chain. And so when Pulse Chain runs, the grays are going to run even harder.
Yeah, but you know how quickly this all reverses. We sit here for 3, 6, 9 months, nothing happens. Down to the right, sideways, draining people out. And then within the space of 24, 48, 72 hours, the thing pops at 3 to 5x, and you're back at close to all-time highs. You know, pushing all-time highs. It can happen that quickly.
Yeah,
and that's crypto.
Absolutely.
That's crypto 101. If you've been in for longer than a cycle, you understand that.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So October, November, December. Yeah, it's it needs to happen. RH needs to pull his finger out of his backside and really start pushing it. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. I got to get this reposted on the main account. I forgot to do that. So I'm distracted for a second.
Yeah, man. If anyone else wants to jump up and say their 2 cents, jump in now. Forever hold your peace.
Polygon says, Pulse Chain will do the X's it's going to do with it. Probably, I think he means with or without RH once the business cycle does what it will inevitably do. Yeah, agree. Yeah, and that's the organic growth I was referring to just a minute ago. You know, Pulse Chain is it's going to run even without a mailing campaign. It's going to run even without Richard Hart injecting capital, if that's what he decides to do. You know, we're going to have, but it would just not be as much without mailing campaign.
I just don't think it's going to happen the way everyone thinks it's going to happen. It's definitely not going to happen the way everyone thinks it's going to happen. You're not going to have wallet watchers watching the ETH reserves deplete and then Pulse Chain pump simultaneously. You're not going to see it that way. Like, don't think it's going to be that easy. You're just going to be able to watch it. It's going to happen in an indirect way. And I don't even know. It's probably not going to happen the way that I think it's going to happen. So just, I guess, get ready for Q4 of 2025 because I think it's going to have some surprises. It's not going to be easy, but we need to get going.
Yes. Yep, it'll get going. And who knows, maybe it may be, okay, this cycle has been a little bit different. You know, the alt season has been delayed a little bit, but perhaps that's an implication to the rest of the cycle. Like maybe we won't have a big sell-off, a big crypto crash in the next bear also. You know, I'd love that, man. I'd like to see Pulse Chain and the Grays currencies run up big time this cycle and then not have a 99% correction in the next bear. And perhaps what we're experiencing now is a foretaste of that. You know, perhaps.
Yeah, potentially Bitcoin could be doing the stair stepping up. That's what you're aligning your thought process to right now. But if we see an explosive Q4, if we see a blow off top for BTC, if BTC only goes to 130, 140, but ETH decides to run to 7, 8K, and then it flows into the alts, I think we're still going to have a solid bear market. And yeah, it could happen the exact opposite to what you're saying. We just don't know.
Yeah.
So that's very, you can't really pin that yet. That's too early to understand.
Yep. I like the uncertainty of all of that. I like the speculation aspect of crypto. I was chatting.
It's funny you say that. It needs to be that way. If it was so certain, it never happens. It needs to be. Crypto is always, obviously, you need to be opposite the herd. And then for the markets to pump, majority of the markets need to be bearish for it to pump. Otherwise, it doesn't happen.
Right.
It's just the way it happens. You've been in the cycle. You've been in crypto now almost a few cycles, and you can see the patterns are that way. Like, as soon as everyone's too bullish, everyone's already in. There's no one else left to buy. So therefore, markets are already topped out.
Yep.
So you need to be bearish for it to become bullish.
Yes. And that's where we're at right now, boy.
And that's where I'm at. I've never seen the sentiment in Pulse Chain so low as it is now. It's got me bearish.
Yeah, me too, a little bit, man.
Yeah, man. I'm wondering, is RH a scammer? I'm wondering, is he really taking us for a ride? I'm actually wondering this, and I've been in it for 5 fucking years.
Yeah, been following RH for 5 years too, probably.
Totally.
Yeah, I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And here's the thing, man. You know, he says on his X account, Richard he only communicates in person. So whatever he does on Twitter, you can just dismiss it as anything you want.
Yeah, oh man, I've had enough of these games. I'm like, get going already. Like, what are you doing? We're here, we're supporting you. Get going.
I'm gonna
do? You want me to get a second job and buy more bags? I'll fucking do it.
I'm gonna hang my hat on this one thing. We are waiting for Ethereum.
Yeah,
now, if
that's the last hope that everyone's got. It's like, well, did he really make that bad a technical play on everyone's funds that he invested into Ethereum at the wrong time? So now he's playing it out, like you said, and he's trying to get the last dead weight out of the ecosystem before it pumps. Or is it all a psyop and he purchased it at that point to get everyone out and then pump it? It's which side do you want?
If Ethereum...
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Go ahead, Banana.
I was going to say, if Ethereum runs up to 10 grand and Pulse Chain hasn't moved, then I'll be concerned. More concerned.
I was going to say on that, speak on that trade. I think he kind of had to do that trade from what was going on back then with the uncertainty with DAI. So it might have forced his hand a little bit, not necessarily like timing the market. It was probably like well, if I don't do it now, then I'm afraid I'll get left behind sort of thing. So that could have very well have been it, kind of looking out for the best interest of the community in that way. But yeah, like obviously Ethereum has to run. Obviously, the whole market has to kind of get boosted. And I think it's just more of a timing thing. And I'm sure we're all used to the saying like, well, if they're going to sell anyways, sell lower. And that is unfortunately what it is like, there's got to be some people that exit now because, it's better than having them on the way up and then selling down green candles.
Yeah, man. I hear you. But, you're talking on the 1 level D chess. And Richard's meant to be at 3 to 10 to 50 level D chess. So, I don't know. Is it really that way? Was it really that simple? Has he really pushed it, to that level because he had to make the trade? Yeah, it could be 100%. Or it could be for another reason. Either way,
I also think you couldn't buy that much Ethereum. Like that was a very tight pocket when he purchased all that Ethereum. Like that was a lot of Ethereum to be purchased all at like the time that he did.
Yeah, man, it's a lot. It was a shitload. And to go all in on ETH as well, and nothing else, just conviction on ETH at the wrong time.
Does anybody have any idea why he bought at that time? I don't know that I've heard a story. You're talking about when he bought Ethereum when it was a little bit higher.
Yeah, right? at that 3,700 mark, I believe.
Yeah. Does anybody have the skinny on why you guys think he would have bought at that 3,700?
It was right before the ETF was going to get announced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but guys, you don't think he's got a team of experts behind him to make sure that not his 1 million trade, but his 1 billion trade is going to actually hit at the right time? I don't know. I don't know. I don't believe that.
Well, I also think it was part of the reason is since there was an upgrade to DAI, I believe that did make it more centralized, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that, But that's what I've heard is why he made that trade the way he did, is because DAI in itself was changing, and I think he was trying to go into the appreciating asset rather than, basically, holding everything in a USD sort of coin that DAI is probably going to turn into eventually. But who knows? I could be way off on that.
Hey guys.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I just want to pop in real quick and tell you, just reiterate what Famous has said before, which is that basically it's like one or both of the things that could be true, which is at that time when all that Ethereum became available, I think someone dumped it, I believe. It was like just the right time to buy it because it was so difficult to go around and try to buy it all up everywhere, right? And so he was able just to snap it up all in one go instead of risking trying to buy it everywhere across the market at different prices, I think it is, or something like that. So like there was a risk inherently of just not buying it all in one go and not being able to accumulate more, I guess. Especially back then, it seemed, like that was it. You're not going to be able to get more, I suppose. But also the DAI thing is also very true. I believe I remember when that change happened with some governance thing was going on. That like mysteriously, that's like as soon as that happened, it seemed like he freaked out and just like full poured it out and all that stuff. So it is interesting. It could be like one or both of the things could be true at the same time, I suppose. I'm not sure. I wasn't there like watching every single thing to really tell you exactly what it was, but it seemed like the supply thing was like one of the biggest things to consider. Especially at that time. So it's kind of funny, right? Hindsight, you look back, you're like, oh, that was. It's always easy to say in hindsight what you would have done, but in the moment, good luck with that. Man, that's a lot of money. So I just wanted to point that out, just a little perspective there again, like what Famous was talking about when he was looking at the on chain, like people claim this and that about supply, but in reality they can't actually prove it. So it's kind of a tricky subject there. But I just wanted to mention sense on that.
Maybe he caught wind that there was, there was people forming Ethereum strategic reserves, and maybe that's when he, found his opening with that trade to have a reserve to get us on the map.
Yeah, it's very possible. Yeah, I mean, there are so many different factors, but I would not be surprised if any of that is possibly true. You can only try and swing and make your plays. If they don't work, they don't work. You just keep trying, I guess, right? Just keep trying something different. Just keep back.
But here's the thing, Electro, like whether it was for that reason or it was for another reason, a bit of more of a psyop reason to shake out more of the weekends, get the dead weight out of the ecosystem, because of that being a bit of a deterrent, that happened. Regardless, we're in this position now. Doesn't matter what happened and what reason for it, and he's going to want and make sure that ETH hits all-time highs and pushes past them before he makes that move. So really, that is the kicker for Q4 2025. And does he? The question now is really, like I'm thinking about it on the fly here, does he want to front run that and start pumping his own chain prior, or does he want to wait for that and then start pumping his chain after, because others outside the ecosystem are going to be in profits? And when everyone's in profits, you know what that's like. They're more than happy to drop 10, 20, 30 bands of their profits into another ecosystem to, roll the dice. So
yeah, it's very possible. Sorry if I interrupted anyone there, but if you think about the risk, if you think about the what do you call it, like the cascade effect, right, or whatever, like, so the ladder sort of thing, like, so you have Bitcoin, people are going from Bitcoin to Ethereum and Ethereum to something else, right, to Sol and whatever, and like we're at the riskiest curve of things. We're gate kept, all this stuff. Like, you think people are gonna come straight from Bitcoin to here? Not a chance.
No, we're so contrarian, it's not funny.
Yeah, so everybody has to make money first, and then they come here. Essentially, sadly, unless Richard pumps us, like, people are just going to have to wait, I guess. You're right.
I mean, mean, we could be in for a tide of meme coin season, which is why he launched Pump.Tires. Like maybe it's the memes that get people here, and then the cores like get people to stay, have more liquidity on chain too.
Yeah, that's possible.
And J Dub says on YouTube that he was holding DAI, which made their new coin SDAI, which can be frozen. So he was worried about that, I believe, in reference to Richard Hart buying the Ethereum right before the ETF. Polygon says speculating on RH's intentions is like trying to guess where and when lightning will strike. All we need to know is that it will. Does anybody know, like Tommy Bibby asks a question. He says, I heard there's 6 billion PLS in the DAO, but when I go on the website, it says there's just 200 million. Could you clear that up? Thanks. If I need to get that straight for myself too, Tommy. I need to have those wallet addresses, and I'm going to reach out and get that sorted so I can answer questions like that. But if anybody has the answer.
Yeah, you have what's actually been transferred into the wallets, into the main treasury wallet from the proposals already, which is essentially 8 billion. And then when you go to the website and you look at the what's currently there on the right-hand side of the website,
Mm-hmm.
that's all of the PLS that's available for a proposal. And then when you drill down into the DAO, you look at what the date is. So currently the date is what is it, the 27th? I don't even know now.
Yeah, it's the 27th.
Yeah, so anything that's either from the 27th up is still needing to be sent to the treasury wallet, which currently has almost the 8 billion in it. So you've got what's already in the wallet, which is, I think it's 8 billion. Last I looked, it was right. It was almost there. You have what's coming out based on the dates. And that's also part of what's going to be sent there very shortly here. Just it's based on whatever date it is. And then at the top right, it says available pulse. That's what's available to be proposed on, which also, once that date's fulfilled on that specific proposal, will be sent to the wallet as well. So there's 3 things you're looking at: what's already there, what's about to be there,
Okay.
and what needs to be proposed on to be sent there.
Okay. So is that 3 different wallets or 2?
Technically, it's what's in the main wallet, which where it all gets sent, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's one wallet.
Yeah.
And then you have what's available, what's in the available wallet. Okay.
Yeah.
And technically the way that it works is what's in that available wallet can be proposed on to be sent to any wallet that wins a proposal.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. So,
True.
but I would say 3, but in reality it's 2, in the sense that, the way that the DAO works is that it just gets sent to the
Proposer.
to that one wallet and then sent to the main wallet, to the treasury wallet, just so that we don't have any issues or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but so technically the pulse that's being generated, the revenue that's being generated, it's sent to a wallet by contract. The only way it leaves that wallet is by proposal to whatever address wins the proposal, and then that gets executed based on whatever. But it's all being sent to the treasury wallet in one big wallet.
Okay. Yeah, that does make sense. Well, what else is cooking, guys? I guess we can review some stats. Let's do that.
How's the ratio to UFO and pTGC doing?
Let's do it. Is this Snowflake?
No, extra.
Oh, hey, extra. Let's have a look. I've got it pulled up on my YouTube. It's 0.6165 PLS per UFO. And in the last, let me see here, in the last 8, 16, 20, in the last 24 hours, the ratio is up about 8%. So not as dramatic as pTGC at this time, but it's doing better.
One pTGC is worth 12.5 UFO.
Oh, is that what you were asking about? I'm sorry.
Yeah, originally. No, you're good. That was all good stuff. I appreciate it, guys.
Sure. Well, we burned 42 billion 438 million pTGC, or 12.73% of the total supply. In the last 24 hours, we burned 8.4 million pTGC. And every one of those pTGC tokens is off the market. It will never earn another reflection or staking reward ever. 8 million. And that's $2,215 worth of tokens just in the last 24 hours. And this happens day after day after day in this ecosystem. And we burned a total of, so $2,000 in the last 24 hours, but we burned 11.3 actually $1 million worth of pTGC since October 11th, 2023, 2 years. $11.3 million worth of tokens burned out of existence. The price is now, well, we're up 13% the last 24 hours, guys. It's 0.00265. The volume in the last 24 hours is $184,000. Hey, guys, that is some excellent volume. I'm just going to tell you, I've been watching the volume just about every day. And if you compare it to where it was last year, significant improvement, much improved. Liquidity is $6.3 million. 1,000 transactions in the last 24 hours. We already covered the ratio. Circulating supply is 290,894 million. So basically 291 million, just a fuzz under 291 billion tokens in circulation. We're 37x from a penny. I'm excited to get back to that 10x to a penny of several months ago and beyond. But right now we're 37x to a penny.
Yeah, the percentage gain, once Pulse Chain starts to we just saw it just yesterday, it's double digits. So if you're at 60 something million, 62 million market cap, I mean, the second that it blips, you're up 12-15%, just like that.
Yeah. And
the engine turns on just like that. With any shifts in the market, it's kind of where the system's at right now. The jump is quick. Like yesterday, you had a guy clip himself out.
Yeah.
And then instantly, you're up almost 15%.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
more clip out for freaking tires.
Oh, I was so disappointed to hear that.
Think about it. I wasn't. I'm sitting here going, "Thank you, Lord." Hey, the guy made his money. Praise the Lord. Get your money and get out.
That's the way to look at it. Yeah, that's the other way to look at it for sure. I hope he kept a just in case bag.
Yeah, he kept 1 million pTGC.
Okay. Good.
He literally kept a just in case.
Just in case. He's like, I'm going to sell all this, but just in case. Yeah, man. Oh, that is.
It's funny because you could have scooped pTGC up cheaper than whatever main pump tires coins you really wanted at that time too.
Did he go into pumped out tires?
No, there's literally a dump.tires just it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. Like,
Oh, that's an actual point. Okay.
it's just they're just shit coining, dude. Like,
Oh.
it's amazing to me because, you know, I've been in this space a long time. And to me, a pTGC token is just pure gold.
Yes.
That's how it's pure freaking
every
gold.
single
You can't
one.
get a more valuable token.
Yep.
And so when I see people doing stuff like that, it's freaking mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, but then it also, Mando, shows you how strong this protocol is. Any other protocol on Pulse Chain or even across crypto, you know, at this MC, at this market cap, wouldn't bounce back nearly as quick. But because of the, you know, the strong liquidity pools, the LP pools, and the rebalancing and everything else, man, it bounces in less than 24 hours back.
Yeah, and Kuhn, and just to make sure, like, it's not just that; it's that people are coming in and buying.
Well, that's positive. So
Yeah.
you're actually watching that on chain, because I'm not.
Absolutely, yeah. People are buying this stuff right now. And people are they're like, this is low enough for me. You know, new wallets are hitting. Yep. So yeah, at this stage, if you're selling out any large amount, or there's people just buying this stuff up at this point.
And they're buying. Okay, so we're getting buys. So let's look into this a little bit deeper, because this is good to jump into. They're buying at a time when PLS is at its lowest volume, when the sentiment is the lowest I've ever seen on chain, across the board, across Twitter, across social media. It's just like, you know,
that's when you're supposed to be buying, right?
Yep.
But most investors or most crypto bros, you know, they just don't. Yeah, they don't seem to be able to do it at these lows. But then that tells you how strong these assets are, because the real smart investors know when to scoop it up, you know, and do it undetected. Well, they're trying to do it undetected, but obviously, you know, we've got some smarter people already in the ecosystem like yourself that know how to pick this stuff up, and we can broadcast it. And you know, whoever doesn't hear this across Pulse Chain has got their head in the sand. Seriously. So, yeah.
I mean, in the last 36 hours, you know, the system bottomed at that, you know, 4021 level.
Oh, yeah.
And it's already up 25% in 36 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome to see.
Yeah, the average daily volume for the last 7 days is $100,000. 30-day average is 142. 180-day is 186. So we've got we're below average for the last 180 days. But if the trend continues, if this uptrend continues, we're going to see an increase in volume. And hopefully we'll go beyond $186,000 average daily. We've collected $9,080 in fees in the last 24 hours. 1.7 million in the last 180 days. And unlike Mando, and this is on, like you say, on a protocol that has no overhead. There's no overhead. There are no employees to pay. There are no taxes to pay. It's just pure fee allocations. And this is where it went in the last 24 hours. Of the $9,000 distributed in the last 24 hours, $900 burnt tokens. $900 was added to liquidity. $3,600 sent to the DAO, which is always going to either buy and burn tokens or make new LPs or bolster existing LPs. $1,800 was paid to holders and $1,800 paid to stakers. Then UFO has burned nearly 85 billion tokens, or 8.5% of its total supply. So it's catching up with pTGC. And UFO burns a lot of pTGC too, by the way. We have burned 37.5 million UFO tokens in the last 24 hours. And just like with pTGC, those tokens are all off the market. They will never earn another reflection or LP reward. Is that correct? Is that correct, Mando? I never really thought about it, and I just kind of said it, but now I'm thinking it through.
But yeah, once they hit the debt address, those no longer have the ability to receive any reward, any APY.
Yeah,
and that's why it's so powerful, because when those tokens, which basically act as our miners, go offline, it's technically like you walking into a mining rig, or like a Bitcoin mining rig, and they all just went offline and just got destroyed. They can no longer earn, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but the mining power is still there, which is unique. It just gets distributed to the current token holders. That's why you can actually hold on to your tokens or even sell your yield, and at the end of the year you actually have a larger percentage of the mining power than you did before.
Yeah.
Which is so freaking unique. I can't tell you how unique that is. That's so powerful to be able to actually be in a system that doesn't cost you any electrical power, software power, computing power, knowledge power, and you can earn in an asset, and you can actually sell like a Bitcoin miner would sell to pay for all the electricity, except for it would be indicative of him actually shutting off some of his mining rigs all year long, right? But you're still gaining more mining share.
Right.
It's a superior system.
Absolutely.
It's a superior system. There's no question about it. You couldn't argue away that reality.
It's
and
genius.
all these guessing lead to the more and more ability to have a supply shock. Yeah, Mando?
Of course it is, man.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
if you look at the distribution is just getting better every week, and we're adding new holders every week, and the DAO is stacking more treasury every week, and this doesn't stop. And if you notice, if you go to the daily chart and you zoom out, so far we've bottomed at a 6.77.
Yeah.
And with that small uptick of Pulse, man, we're just right back at the last local low against Pulse Chain. So you can see that the system just wants to be right here. It doesn't really want to go much lower unless somebody who didn't sell last time sells this time.
And so if this is all happening when, our chain is like all-time lows in volume and, price action and sentiment, then what's going to happen when we actually start cranking, when Richard Hart starts hopefully firing his shots, and and then we get new investors coming in and new capital coming in and fresh liquidity coming in into the chain and across into pTGC and UFO. What happens then? Well, I'm just putting the question out there. It's a bit of a rhetorical question, but I hope everyone can.
Well, we already know what happens. Technically, we can't speak to what happens to price because we don't know who sells or who buys, whatever. But let's ask the question this way. Let's say that happens, and we just have the same people that have been showing kind of the same activity of holding. They're a little bit more longer term, right?
Yep.
this becomes the biggest thing on Pulse Chain, we go into the billions of market cap, it starts generating way more revenue than we've ever seen. And the people who are holding these tokens in any copious amount become wealthy. There's already people in the system that are wealthy, that are crypto wealthy, and they're gaining more because they know what it is. But I mean, and then you have and that's even before talking about the revaluation of the actual assets backing the system, and that when that revaluation takes place, now there's that much more capital that has to be moved around to rebalance liquidity pools, which means that the system that's currently earning this much off of this much volume actually earns a lot more, because it takes that much more money for the market makers to rebalance pools up at those higher levels, which also means that people can sell less to get more value out of the system and impact the chart way less. And that's another big piece that a lot of people don't get. Like, if that happens, Kuhn, and we see a revaluation of the liquidity pools, let's just see a 2, 3, 4x from here, you're going to be able to see what we've seen in the last 30 days, like somebody clipping out, $400,000 worth of pTGC and leaving the system, and it would harm the system that much less.
Yeah, that much less, and that much
and here's
less.
Here's why. Because the higher it goes, and the thicker the LP gets, and the more performance it gets, well, what happens? What happens? The more belief factor happens. The more reality of people start buying back in. They start getting more comfortable with the system, even more now than they are then, right? So there's just this feedback loop.
And you start getting that snowball effect, and yeah, man, I completely know where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying. And you know, the funny thing is, like, I haven't really been wallet watching too much or anything like that, but I have noticed over the last couple of months, like, 3 to 6 months, that the ones that have actually, almost full ported their bags out of our system, aren't the long-term holders. They aren't the ones that purchased from, from the early stages of pTGC once it launched, because those holders are the ones that really understand the value of the system. The ones that have sold quite a bit down and almost dropped their entire bags out have been very short-term holders or investors, because they don't really, they don't really understand what they hold. And so, yeah, that goes to what you're saying, Mando.
Well, I opened up a VC, unless you have something else, Perry. I'll comment on something else just for content. You got anything else?
No, we're good. Yeah, please.
So I opened up a VC, I think it was yesterday. I think that leaders, they show up when everybody else is just kind of showing out, and you're just kind of there. And the thing I love about the pTGC ecosystem is, I can open up a VC and go toe to toe with Zen with my thoughts and what I think in front of the whole community. And in doing so, the community can get a bird's eye view of, what we're thinking, how we're looking at things, because I think it's important for people to hear how people are looking at not only the broader market, but what's going on with Pulse Chain. The issue is most people are just paying so much attention to these X accounts on Pulse Chain, on Pulse Chain, in the community, and unfortunately, a lot of them let that trash inform their actual investment. When in reality, they should be using other metrics to do that. But I opened up a VC yesterday, and I was like, look, if you're on Pulse Chain, this is just my belief, but if you're on Pulse Chain, there's not been anything on Pulse Chain that has a proof of concept outside of a very few amount of things that have the amount of data, the amount of months. We're looking at like 26, almost 27 months now for the Grace ecosystem. And it just really comes down to, what, for me, I wouldn't even be DCAing into pulse chain because I don't DCA into a downtrend. That's stupid. It's retarded. In my opinion, that's dumb. You DCA, you don't DCA into a downtrend. You DCA in a confirmed uptrend. Otherwise, you're just DCAing into infinitumly down. But with pTGC, it's such a blue chip asset on chain that if I want to be exposed to the pulse chain ecosystem, to Richard Hart's ecosystem, this is the thing that deserves my money as an investor. At this point, it's just the thing that deserves my money. So I wouldn't be putting people even into pulse chain at this point. And the reason why is because my money is treated better on top of pulse chain in this asset. It's deflationary. It has a ton of liquidity bonded with the very asset. We get yield. It's generating $4 million of revenue with no overhead that 100% goes back to the community every year at the bottom of the chain with almost no volume. It's generating between $4 and $5 million a year in revenue right now. Sometimes it can go lower. Sometimes it can go higher, but that's kind of the mean. And that was that post that you put out. I think it was yesterday, Prairie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think of it. So in the midst of everything that's going on, and in the midst of like everything that people have options to actually take their hard-earned money for their family, you know, if you're not just a full-blown single dude degen and you're actually a real investor and you're thinking about it from an investing standpoint, what actually has earned the right to your capital on pulse chain at this point? I mean, it either has to be, I'm just going to keep buying cores because they're the safest play. We hope that it goes up. Or you have to go outside of that. And the only things that we have are basically three categories. The forked over legacy stuff, like the fiats and the fucks and the liquid loans and all that. But none of those things do shit without volume on the chain, without actual users on the chain utilizing those kind of legacy banking kind of products. So we've got that category. We've got the cores category. So the forked stuff, the legacy, you know, the legacy forked stuff, the cores, the meme category, and then the forked over P coins, which the only dang thing that, you know, people have really speculated on is the Atropa stuff with PDI. And then you've got pTGC and its ecosystem and things that have tried to copy it. It's pretty much what the landscape of pulse chain is currently right now. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a few other things that I think are cool, but they're just not proven yet. And unfortunately, everything, in my opinion, just has the it has a gotcha, it has a gimme, it has a, you know, this amount goes to these special people, or this amount's controlled and it's the trust me bro situation, whatever. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying that right now, I think that if you're on pulse chain, or if you're looking into the ecosystem of pulse chain, there's not, I mean, the Grace ecosystem has become the gold standard. Just undoubtedly the gold standard. There's nothing out there like it.
Polygon.
So it's amazing. It's amazing to me that we'll sit there and we'll watch people, you know, full port their bags into a freaking like into a dump.tires or a pump coin or a meme coin. That's just there's nothing there. It's just it goes up, it comes down. You know.
Polygon says pTGC and UFO are noticeably becoming the cream of the crop on pulse chain. Yeah, I've said it in the past. They're becoming or have been the elephant in the room that everybody is going to. I think people are noticing them, but they're going to have to start talking about them eventually.
Prairie, I told you about the time that there's some guys that I started following like a couple years back, and they're sort of multi-chained and whatever.
Yeah.
And they made fun of pulse chain for a lot of the time, and I didn't have an opinion back then to really know. Since I got deeper into this community, I kind of left that sort of sector of crypto behind. But even still, like those guys from that time, I think it was early 24 to recently, I saw a VC with them and what they were talking about. And they still have pTGC and UFO as like, well, if you're on Pulse Chain, which look at the history or whatever, and they laugh. They're like, this ecosystem is probably the only thing worth looking at. And these are people that are not Richard Hart people. They're not Pulse Chain Maxi people. They don't really care about the tech, but they understand that the system that's built here is worth it. Especially with them, like they're very coin agnostic people. And for them to cave in and say, yeah, but pTGC and UFO, I think that's pretty big in my opinion.
That is.
Are these influencers? Are these some influencers that are kind of more out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, but Zen said the other day, we're on a Spaces, that people have literally come over to Pulse Chain to speculate on pTGC and UFO. Well, I don't know if it was UFO actually, but pTGC for sure. And he's seen it on a number of occasions. I'm like, yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's actually some people in the last 2 months that have crossed the bridge to take positions in the ecosystem that are freaking massive. Like, I'm talking like megalodons from Ethereum and from outside of this ecosystem just to come over here. Nobody knows.
Sure.
But I mean, the type of people that could just, if it goes well and it turns around, could just full port the whole system on their own.
Nice. Well, we love that. I'm glad. I'm happy for those. I'm happy for anybody that holds these tokens. And it's genuine, man. I really believe that these tokens, pTGC and UFO, are going to do phenomenally well.
I know people really aren't big. I'm sorry. I know people aren't too big on like price predictions and like speculating on price and where that goes and whatever. So this is just coming from me. I don't expect anyone to adopt this train of thought or whatever, but this is basically how I introduce this ecosystem to like people who like Pulse Chain already and they're speculative on other stuff that can do more X's and whatever. I like to put it in terms of if you like pTGC or if you like Hex, you're going to love pTGC because I think it does a 2X on whatever Hex does from its all-time high, like from the lows to the all-time high. And I think the same for UFO to Pulse X. I think whatever Pulse X does, wherever it tops out at, I think UFO does a 2X on that. So I do kind of have like this like math in my head where it's like, well, bare minimum, I think this is, what it is based on the ratio, the buy and burn mechanisms, how many tokens are locked, all that good stuff. So again, not expecting anyone to think like me or whatever, but when I onboard people in, the easy way I can kind of convey like what pTGC and UFO can do, I use Hex and Pulse X to correlate. It's like, oh, well, it's kind of like leverage on all the core coins that it's bonded with, but to put in like perspective of where it can go on the moves it can do, that's what I kind of use those as examples. What do you guys think about that?
Agreed. I'm looking at the pTGC Hex chart in Hex terms on the monthly. It is up. pTGC is up 35,000% against Hex since the second month. 35,000%.
That's PHEX, right?
Let me see. Yes. And I'm looking for Pulse X.
Yeah, and so like not only when those cores make that move, do the LPs make that move with it, but it massively turns on a pulse generating reactor. And, that thing has automatic, and it also has very strategic capital that's being distributed, I mean, how nice is it that essentially the system right now is sitting on at the current price? What is it? What is it? Current price of Pulse Chain is what? 4 zeros and
3396. 3396.
Okay, so times 0.0004 zeros. 3396.
Yes.
Okay, so you're almost at a $300,000 worth just sitting there in the treasury and bringing in more every day. So at just a double in the price of Pulse Chain here, you're sitting on 600 G's of Pulse Chain. Right? The system's at the current market cap it's at. Pulse Chain just doubles from here. You're sitting at 600 G's. If it doubles from there, you're sitting at 1.2 million. If it doubles from there, you're sitting at 2.4 million. Right? With the system continuing to generate more revenue faster, because if we're going up, the system turns on. So the fact that you've got that much sitting there and every double, so you have to add the X multiplier to the treasury, in addition to the LPs, in addition to adding new users, in addition to the DAO generating revenue, in addition to the systems buying and burning the tokens. And we frankly, we really haven't seen, we only got a real small taste of what that revenue generation looks like one time so far in the system, where the system was generating so much Pulse Chain that we couldn't even put in enough proposals to pull it all out, which is actually, which is a good thing, by the way. It's not a bad thing. It's just, it's making so much Pulse so fast that and that's when people are like, wow. Yeah, the treasury's worth 600 G's. Now it's worth 1.2 million. Now it's worth 2.4 million. Now it's worth, it's worth 5 million. Do you know do you know what it looks like to have pTG sitting on a $5 million treasury with just a couple of X?
That's a good place to be, man. pTGC is like any good investor holding USDC on the side. We just happen to hold PLS on the side. pTGC is
but it's always Prairie, and you know this more than anybody because you're the guy that just breathes this thing. It's always like I can say that, and there's a lot of amazing people here, awesome community people here. You guys are all awesome because you always show up. But even now, it's like you can get that cognitive dissonance where, well, that's kind of how it's supposed to work, but there's that but, right? And I get it. But in reality, that's the only thing that can happen. That's the only thing that can happen is this system has a treasury. It's constantly generating revenue. Right now, it's on average about 4 to 5 million a year in revenue with no overhead. It's allowing anybody who doesn't value the tokens at these levels to sell. Just get out. As the system goes down in price, our holders are getting more of those valuable tokens because the price is lower. That means I'm getting way more tokens in yield. That means that Crypto Stylist is getting more tokens in yield. That means that Kuhn's getting, Goo God's getting, and these are people that know what they hold, right? So there's this really amazing kind of health check feedback loop when people like full port their bags and just go do whatever they're going to do. But when you're doing it down here at the bottom of Pulse Chain, realizing that the system's just stacking that much Pulse, and at every 2x, you go from 300 to 600 to 1.2 to 2.4 to 5. And that's not really a lot of X. That's when you really realize, holy moly, like the system will turn into a freaking absolute beast. And that's before you even talk about the fact that the liquidity pools in both UFO and pTGC just did that same revaluation.
Yeah, pTGC is up against PLSX since January of 2024, 15,000%. In reference to the gentleman that was talking a few minutes ago. I think that was extra pulse X. So you have it. 15,000%.
You guys got to love looking at the yield coming in right now. I mean, we're just getting long-term holders are just scooping up the tokens, man. We're just scooping up these miners. I just checked and I'm sitting here. I just woke up this morning just now and I'm like, whoo. When the price goes lower, man, we're scooping those miners up.
Yep. Low price, high volume, happy days. Yep.
I really enjoyed the.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying I really enjoy the lock feature because I understand where people come from, where it's not really hip or cool to like stake tokens, whatever. But looking back, like that's really what I appreciate about Hex, and I really appreciate about pTGC because in a way I kind of look at them as similar, but they're different, obviously. And one of the main attractions that I think that the system has is like there's various amounts of ways to earn and not really sell off your principal at all. And, with Hex, like you have to wait to collect that yield. With pTGC, you don't. With UFO, you don't. And I think that that's going to be a game changer when narratives shift and people start liking Hex again. They start to really get, buy into the fact of, oh, staking coins is cool again. And then you have pTGC, that's like a sleeping giant that, a lot of the tokens are locked. What is it? Like 130 billion are locked, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Which is a lot of tokens. Mm-hmm. And I think even just staked is over how much is staked to get? Or is that the same number as like when it says on the website it's locked?
Well, there's staked and then staked and locked. I'm getting my eyes on it right now. We've got, let's see, staked only is 80, looks like 87 billion. Staked and locked is 130 billion.
Yeah, and when prices go up, like they're not going to be really incentivized to sell their principal at all. Like it's actually foolish to do that because like you're just going to get priced out. And those people who had that supply, if you're making good amount of yield to where you're not, destroying your principal, that's what business is all about at the end of the day, is like making sure you maintain your principal, watch it appreciate, and then you're earning, yield from that to not destroy your bag. Like, I don't know what else you could ask for.
And another thing that a lot of people don't realize when you're looking at that 12.7%, which is the burn percentage, the system didn't start with like some allocation on the side, right? It was a completely fair launch. And so there's not one token, let's just say hypothetically, there's not one token in that burn address, in that 369 address, that wasn't first bought out of the LP and then sent to that address. It wasn't just created and sent to the address, which didn't bring any value into the system. So that 12.7%, when you give us the actual price currently, Prairie, right? The value of those tokens is almost $12 million, right? What is it, 11.5 million or something you said? The value of the burnt tokens?
11.3 million.
Yeah. So that means that $11.3 million put into the system to take those tokens out, right? Or over the course of the price going up, right? You can just say at this point, that's the value of those tokens into the system to shore up the system. Because when you pull the tokens out of the LP, you have to push the pulse into the pool to get them out. And that pulse is left into the LP. And then you have all the pulse that's automatically being added to the LP, to the V1 pair with the automatic buy and burn, which is also very powerful. And we don't really see those on the backside because you don't really see it in the price. But over time, it adds up to be a lot, you know. So we're looking at almost 13% of the supply burned, and it's worth almost $12 million. The more that you see that part of the pie go up, 13%, 14%, 15%, 16%, it's indicative of, you know, those miners are gone forever. There was real capital pushed into the pools to even make that price go up, which means that there's more liquidity in the system to make those prices go up. And it just means that the asset is getting more scarce, which means that if you're still holding, you're getting more of the yield because all of those miners are offline. That 12.7% represents miners that have all gone offline.
Yep.
And it cost almost $12 million to take them offline.
Ooh. That's the way to put it.
You like that one?
Yeah,
like
man.
That one, don't you, Barry?
Uh-huh. It costs $12 million to take all those miners off.
It costs money to take the miners offline in this system. It doesn't cost any money to take, you know, it costs money in a sense when you pull the plug on an ASIC miner. But here you have to buy that. You have to buy it first before you can take it offline. You know, it's that might be a semantic, but at the end of the day, it is a data point.
Yes.
I wonder what it'll be by the end of the bull run. This whenever it ends.
Shoot,
I wonder what it will have cost to take X amount of percentage of those miners offline.
We're gonna find out here soon.
Guys, feel free to come up, say hi, chime in from the beach. I'm sure some of you guys are probably chilling on the beach on a Saturday.
I know somebody that's on his way to the beach. He deserves it too.
Yeah, nobody deserves it more, man. I tell you.
Yeah.
Best freaking guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Diamond in the rough. I'm scrolling through my Telegram trying to find this this video, this YouTuber that I mentioned at the beginning of the spaces that I've just learned about. I like him. He does short videos, more macro kind of crypto. He is the modern investor. That's it, guys. The modern investor. I don't know if you've heard me talk about what's going on with the Ethereum Mando that I got from this gentleman. He says that there are about 20 large companies that are looking to scoop up whale positions of Ethereum here in the next 6-7 weeks. And what they plan to do with it is stake it and just enjoy the rewards.
Yeah, isn't that so nice compared to Bitcoin?
Yeah, because you can't stake Bitcoin?
No. Only way you're getting at those rewards is by firing up a farm.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's maybe some financial products, maybe, but you're giving your keys away or whatever, you know?
Yeah. So, yeah, the bottom line of that is that's very bullish for Pulse Chain. If those companies are able to get their big positions, and like some of them want like 5 whale positions, and they're scooping up hundreds of thousands of Ethereum. That's their plan, anyhow, and they want to lock it up for a long time. Never sell it.
Do you guys remember when exactly last cycle the crypto and stock market decoupled from each other?
I don't remember that. No.
I'm just trying to when in doubt zoom out, and I'm trying to figure out when that exactly was. But that could be an interesting.
Would you be looking at the S&P? I mean, what would you be looking at for the? Okay.
So an interesting thing to me is I remember during COVID, and now this was COVID. This is completely, really wasn't foreseeable. But there was a point where after the stock market tapped out, and then crypto started to take over, and we just decoupled from the stock market, where things were starting to go down in the S&P, but Bitcoin, Ethereum really started to make major moves. Do you guys think with the government, if the government shuts down, do you think that's the moment where we kind of decouple away from TradFi stock market stuff?
Well, first, I don't think the government's going to shut down. Number one, I don't think that's happening. They always kick the can down the road, especially with who's in there now. They're not going to let that happen.
Brock says that the stock market and crypto decoupled Q3 to Q4 2022. October to November 2022. It says BTC's correlation with the S&P 500 began trending towards zero and negative decoupling as crypto bottomed.
I've got precise dates for decoupling are hard to pinpoint due to the fluid nature of the market, but early 2021 Q1, Q2 to early 2022 Q1 are periods where crypto's performance notably diverged from the stock market trajectory.
Okay, yeah, awesome. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
And that's based on the S&P and the NASDAQ. Yeah, so that it was basically, mid 2021, 2022.
All right. Who else wants to come up and chat?
I was watching some stuff by Mike Maloney. Some of you guys may know who Mike Maloney is. He owns goldsilver.com. And they just ran numbers on the amount of liquidity that's on the side right now. That in any kind of a downturn or in any kind of a situation where people want to make money, or even maybe if it starts to turn down, they would rush into like out of overpriced real estate, or there's actually almost 20, think about this. There's like $15 trillion on the sidelines right now, just waiting to be created in people's wallets in credit cards. So that's promises by banks that I will allow you to create this much money by swiping your card out of thin air if you want to buy anything. It's almost 15 trillion. What he was saying is that there's a ton, there's literally trillions of dollars on the sideline that can literally flood into gold or silver or Bitcoin, anything that they like, in a market uptrend to make money or a market downtrend to hedge money. It's just, there's so much money on the sidelines. It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you see Vanguard looking into offering their clients ETFs too?
Yeah. Yep.
If that doesn't let you know that we're about to be in a crazy bull market, I don't know what will. Because technically speaking, I believe Vanguard is the biggest hedge fund, or at least they have the most stake in the top 5, or top 10, if I'm not mistaken. I know everyone by money, I think it's BlackRock, but by measure of how much like stake they have in other hedge funds, I think it is Vanguard.
Man, pTGC is almost back up to 80 million. Just like that. What a beautiful thing. We are stacking a ton of pTGC. if you hold your pTGC right now, compared to where we were just a little while ago, I mean, it's so nice to see that much pTGC coming in. Just a freaking money printer, man.
And every one of those tokens is coming into our wallets. Right now, when we're a 100x up, it's going to be worth 100x more.
And you know what's interesting? And you've talked about this before, but it's a compounding effect. Because you're continuing to get more, and then once you get that batch of more continues to make more, and then that batch of more continues to make more, and it's literally this massive compounding effect of APY that generates more APY on top of the more APY.
Yep.
You know, a lot of people look for investments that can compound, but this system, it's an instant compound.
Yes. And it does it automatically with your reflections, because the reflections coming into our wallets, they instantly start earning reflections. The staking rewards got to be claimed, but then they go from the contract. Once you claim them, they go from the contract to your wallet and they start earning reflections. Same with locking rewards. You got to claim them, then they go to your wallet and start earning reflections. But the reflections earn more reflections instantly. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, and like you said, that's why I do claim my staking rewards, because they instantly compound.
Yeah.
You know?
And the reflection rewards they're cool because you don't have to trigger them. They just, and you don't have to claim them. They just show up in your wallet. It's pretty cool. Polygon calls it earning exponentially. That's a good way to put it, dude. Well, gentlemen, are we feeling less chatty? Has everybody got all the chat out of our systems now? It's green. It's a green candle day, man. It was bloody all week, Mando. It was rough, or maybe probably more than a week. When it turned green yesterday, I was like, oh, I felt so much better. I'm always optimistic on Pulse Chain. I mean, but it does. Your sentiment changes once everything turns green. I mean, pTGC is up 19% in the last 24 hours. 19%.
Yeah, no, it's almost up 20%. It's crazy.
Pulse Chain's up 7%.
I really wanted it to go lower just so I could hit that last little big.
I was going to say, I know you did, because you kept on mentioning that, and even in the VCs, it's like I honestly, I was like, guys, whoever wants to get rid of their tokens here, like, just dump that, because there's so many people waiting to buy that shit.
Yep, I was one of them. I was like, yep, send it lower, send it.
Yeah, that's a good attitude.
Even I have ratios that if it goes down there, it's because I truly believe I'm just better off than that, right? I'd rather just swap, $1 billion at a time or whatever, and just, all right, let me get some more,
Yes, I'm glad that my dollar cost average was able to get cleaned up a little bit, because, man, we were shooting up, and I was like, oh boy, did I not have enough time? And then, I really think in general we held up really nicely. I know people always complain and they bitch about stuff going lower and whatever, but I was really thinking I missed the train with pTGC on a nice little dollar cost average time there. I was like, oh man, I hope we don't go to a penny this quick, because I really wanted more. And I'm glad that we had a couple, I'd say maybe like a month extra of like really, if you're a dollar cost averager, then that really worked out for you. If you're someone who was trying to get in real low and try to time the low, I guess it worked out for you too in that aspect. But even if you were a person that was like, I don't want the train to leave the station without me, and you bought at that top of the trend that happened recently, like that's still a great entry. When you like, when in doubt, zoom out and look at where pTGC can go. Like we weren't even at 10% of a penny yet. Like that's still a great entry in retrospect of like what you could see in like the future for sure.
Well, you know that like where we are now on the chart could one day be you're looking down and looking at it as a freaking blip, perspective wise, just like the first dip, the first retracement back in November of 2023, or the second retracement, back in March of 2024. It's these things when you go back, that the emotion was like, oh, it's oblivion, it's going down, and in reality, if you knew what was actually in the future, you would have been literally selling your house to buy the tokens.
You know what people in the community were reminding me of? They're reminding me of like when I was a teenager and you get your work schedule on Monday and then you're looking through and you're scrolling down and you see your name on Saturday and Sunday shift. And you're like, oh, no, this is so horrible. It's like that. That's what it felt like on crypto Twitter. It's like you're scrolling through and it's like, I wonder if they really think like this, or if this is like a warfare game that they're playing, where it's like if enough people see like the negative sentiment, maybe they just sell it off and then those are the people who scoop it up. Or if they're really like that, disconnected with things and they really have a big recency bias and they're like, the world's over. I got to sell everything. This is terrible performance. I should have done this, should have done that. And it's like, you look around and it's like, what were you going to do other than Bitcoin and Ethereum and get lucky on meme coins? What were you going to do? So.
Well, they could have gone into SWI or some of these other L1s that maybe did a little something, but nothing to just, hit really, really hard. The only place to do that would have been gambling, like you said, just gambling, and you just hope that you hit the needle in the haystack meme coin,
And that's not smart, especially if you're a lower level investor and you're really trying to make the best of your gains. Like, I understand like casinos are fun. I understand that, sometimes you got to jump on opportunities if you're early enough. Totally understand that. But, do it in a wiser format. Like, don't just chase the green candles. Like, really respect what you have with your principal. And, if you're that nervous, then just stick to the cores. But if you're really venturing out because you want leverage on the cores, then you do have to, step out and look around and see what there is. And, 99% of the time, they always get it wrong with like a quick flip, or they think that, oh, this just launched 30 minutes ago, I got time or whatever. And it's like, really, if you were just steady dollar cost averaging in the cores, pTGC, UFO, and, some of the pump tires coins I like from the, original deployer wallet, basically everything pTGC and UFO are attached to. Like, you kind of just have to not look at the chart and not have such recency bias, because at any given point, someone with a $10,000 portfolio, let's say, across the board with cores, pTGC, UFO, whatever, just like that, you could be at a 10x. And then already for you, that's really life-changing money. But in order for you to achieve that, you had to sit through some pretty significant dips, unless you just got lucky, bought the lows, and then immediately, it did a 10x, but that's not most people.
Well, yeah, but here the difference is by me just holding what I have, I'm in the best asset. I'm in the asset that's generating $4 or $5 million in revenue a year with no overhead. That's been one of the only things that proven itself on the chain. It's been battle tested, battle hardened, 27 months of everything. And I'm earning a compounding interest. I mean, to me, it's like the only reason why, so to me, I've already compartmentalized my position here as just, that's the solid rock of Gibraltar. It's like the chief cornerstone. On Pulse Chain, personally, for me, that's, if I want to be exposed to Pulse Chain, there's not a better damn token on the planet than the Grace currency, right? So if I want to be on Pulse Chain speculating in memes all day, all freaking day, but just decide with what amount of money you want to do that with and do it. Just leave your golden goose alone, and that the problem is you went back and you asked the question, and I made a little comment earlier about X and it informing your emotions and what you're doing with your actual, investments, your actual assets. And yes, the answer to your question earlier was yes. You said you wonder, are people just doing that on purpose? Are they all the above? 100%. There are literal. You'll notice, and I've talked to this with multiple people. I've talked with this about Zen in the middle of it, and I've been like, hey, look at what's going on right now over the course of the next 7 days, and all of a sudden you'll just have these mega FUD waves, right? Everything's fine, and all of a sudden, it sucks, and you got everybody, certain accounts, some of them you've never even seen before. This sucks. What the hell is good? Pulse Chain, and there's and then you have influencers that'll do the same thing. And every one of these things, there's a motive behind. You think there's not a motive behind it? Because you really can't think that you're going to affect Richard Hart in any real sense. So what is the actual motive behind just this massive fudding on X of your own ecosystem? And think about this, if you're still here in the ecosystem after everything that's happened, if you're still here and you're talking about it and you're fudding it, why do you FUD something if you're out? If you're out, the only reason why you would keep talking about it is because you're one of those guys that just, you damn lost your mind because you ain't got nothing better to do. But for the large majority of people, in my opinion, you're talking about something because you're trying to get the price to go lower if you're FUDing it. And there's been so many accounts that have actually come out and actually confirmed that that's exactly what they do. They buy the swing low. They ride it up to the swing high, they sell it, and then they turn on all their FUD accounts instantly. FUD the crap out of it, right? Because they want to buy in a swing low again. But I think the biggest thing to know is that, Richard Hart is the market maker of this chain. That's an obvious reality. And the price is where the price is because the market makers want the price there.
It's a blessing, honestly. Like from where I came in Pulse Chain originally, I remember being on Solana, being completely like it was degen mode. Like I at that point, I didn't look at crypto in the same light as I do today. And even back then in early 24, I realized what Richard and Pulse Chain and Hex, like what the potential behind it was. And that was, when price was, I think that was right after launch, and then it dipped, and then it went to 3018 or something. It wicked all the way up there. I remember hurrying up and bridging in because I thought like, oh man, this is really going to take off. And then, the rest is history from there. And then just, down to the right. But I actually really like, instead of looking at it like, wow, I'm down all this money and whatever, blah, 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 blah. I'm a units person. So I looked at it like, wow, like these entries are amazing because, you know, I'm one of those people that, you know, I like swing trading some stuff, but then I like holding on to stuff because I see the long-term vision behind it. Like I'm not, you know, I'm very upfront with that stuff. Like if it's, you know, some meme coin that, you know, just launched like 5 minutes ago and I think, well, throw a couple pulse at it, see what it does. I'll do that. But, you know, a lot of the stuff why I'm in cryptocurrency is like, I'm young enough to where like, I don't trust the 401k to do it for me. I don't trust, you know, these institutions to hold on to my money for me. I trust myself and I trust my own intuition. And I think, you know, where we're at today, we're going to laugh at 5 years from now because, you know, we're just going to be looked at, respected in a completely different light. And we're going to all remember like, man, like, but that was the best time to buy it when you were just like, you know, shaking like, oh no, is this going to work? Is this, you know, are we going to see even a 50X or whatever? And it's like, you know, I have the foresight to see right through that. I think Richard is not someone to play with or think that he's not going to make his L1 really, you know, shake this bull market. Excuse me, this bull market.
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, does anybody have any final comments?
Yes.
Shoot, man.
Yeah. So I just wanted to, I had to get away a little bit there, but I just wanted to piggyback on what he said about the L1 sort of thing, with, you know, as far as performance goes. When you think about it, you know, and I know this has been talked about, you know, people have brought up examples of L1s doing, you know, gains and all that, but yeah, I think, you know, people might get confused. I feel like a lot of people are just confused as to where we are, where we could go. And I think that if you just simplify it in terms of like, okay, if you, for instance, you can compare it, you know, you can see what a certain amount of money did last year with the pump, and you can kind of extrapolate from that. You can see how many people like bridged out or whatever, right? I think a lot of those people will come back when they FOMO in. But, you know, when you think about the old ones, like how they all made money, right? I honestly don't remember if any of them really do anything decent. But, I mean, I don't recall any of them just doing decently. They've all done well. So when I think about it, like especially, and I know people joke about the marketing thing, it's funny, you know, cringe, whatever. But the fact that you just need 0.5% of them actually buying anything for us to get tens of millions of dollars, you know, I would say that's pretty bullish. And so, you know, when you have that and you have people FOMOing in, coming back, you have Richard pumping, whatever, you have all these things. I don't see why, you know, down the road, whether it's at the end of the cycle because everyone's coming, you know, everyone is trickling down money. I don't see why we can't have Pulse do like a 10x, right? Let's just say 5-10x, I would say is pretty realistic. And then off that, you know, you have Inc or Pulse X or something, right? That's doing like a 50x or something. And you've got maybe, you know, or Hex maybe doing closer to 100. You know, and that's like maybe like a wick or something, whatever, right? Depending on the sell pressure. But, you know, there is a possibility of getting those gains. And then you have the smaller caps that are going to do, you know, much bigger numbers. And so, you know, I think people just need to keep that perspective in mind that, you know, it's a patience game, right? I mean, we see how much has been, and it's like such a trope thing, you know, right? Like, I mean, like, how much longer? But, you know, Richard himself said it takes about 2.5 years to shake people out. And where are we at in the timeline right now? So, like, you just have to take into consideration, you know, like, not like I would say like this perspective. You have to keep in mind the forefront, like where you are on the game piece, I guess, and just have the patience, I guess, and, you know, just if you can DCA, you know, DCA. I mean, if not, whenever like there's a real bottom, you know, put some money in. I'm not saying, you know, go bankrupt. That's why a lot of people are so upset as well, right? I mean, they're like going bankrupt. So, but yeah, I feel like ultimately, There are lots of gains to be made, especially if you buy the smaller caps, buy, all these, I'm not saying buy garbage, but just things that look like there's potential that are just cheaper, especially at these prices down here. Any of the cores, anything, are going to do really well. Pulse itself, I know because there are some people that think it's going to do the best. I don't think so. I think 510X is just fine because everything else is going to pump so much harder. But yeah, just something to think about with it being an L1. The possibilities are endless. We don't know what Godwill is going to do. We don't know what any of these big players are going to do. So it is interesting for me to think about the scenarios. I'm like, okay, what if this guy does that and this guy does this, right? We don't know who Richard is bringing in on the side. Like, we have no idea. All we can do is speculate. He's not doing anything. But the fact that he tested the tablet marketing, months before, like 4 months, I think, before or something like that, there were posts. So, like, basically, we know essentially last year he was already doing it. He was already looking into the marketing. He was already testing out the tablet thing. So, like, and he was quiet this whole time. So people think like he's not doing anything. He's whatever, blocking me. Like, I get how it feels. How it feels is different from what is reality, though. What is actually happening out there behind the scenes. So just something to think about. I know it's depressing, but we're literally days away from everything pumping again. So we'll see how it goes.
I personally think we're very spoiled as a community. I mean, if you like zoom out, like Richard, since the SEC lawsuit ended, even before it like officially ended, I know there was like commenting dates or time for the SEC to appeal and whatever, all that. I think this year Richard has probably been more active than the common founder of an L1 or like any sort of like prominent project that people are putting their money towards outside of Pulse Chain. I think even without Richard live streaming and whatever, like for example, Sonic's community, they just want their founder to interact in general, like just tweet, give us something, you know what I mean? And then there was a couple other things that happened, but anyways, that's beside the point. The point is, like, I believe that even though Richard hasn't been live streaming, like, he's been with us. He's been in the community. He's been giving us like hidden gems, messages, things popping up that he endorsed and, community got behind, and it's cool, innovative things. And I think that, like, we are kind of spoiled in that sense, because I don't see any other communities, like especially the founders, really doing anything right now at this point. And that's what really makes me bullish, actually, is because even though Richard really can't like live stream and all that, I do think like there's been a lot moved, like he's done in the background, that is a very big bullish signal, in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously the frustration is that it just doesn't translate into price, right? All the effort, all the whatever, it just doesn't translate into price. And, Richard always said that, the only thing that matters in crypto is the price. So, 4 years in, I think that's obviously the issue. It's just fatigue, man. It's just fatigue. But it's obvious that if there's anything I think it's very interesting this moment in time with this marketing campaign going out, because obviously the marketing campaign means that the founder of Pulse Chain has some kind of a strategy. I think that's the biggest takeaway personally for me. That there is some form of a strategy, and it may not be exactly what you think it is. He is there. He did beat the SEC. That was massive. That took everything. We're just past that. Pump.tires comes out. All these updates comes out. The Pulse Chain website comes out. All these new on-ramps come on. The meme coins, all of that. Now we have this big marketing campaign rolling out, which they're kicking ass out there. There's literally they're just down there every day, just living there basically. There's a point to all of this. There's a rhyme to all of this. And because it hasn't translated into price when we want it to translate into price, you end up with that sentiment. And then you have the influencers and there's strategic outbound messaging going on from a lot of different people with a lot of different modes of operation and ways of thinking about what's going on. And some of them think, hey, let's turn negative in the outbound messaging, even though we're not going anywhere, even though we haven't sold anything. Let's turn negative on Richard and let's turn up the heat on Richard. Let's make Richard go on a block fest, right? Maybe that'll affect him a little bit. My personal belief is that nothing's going to affect Richard's plan because he's just very mathematical. That's just my belief.
Spot on. Yeah, totally agree.
So Prairie, I think that's a good place to close it out, man, unless anybody else has anything.
I agree. I think we've been on for 2 hours, right on 2 hours. So we'll have spaces again on Monday, same time, same channel. And I will be doing a presentation for anybody that's new to the Grays Eco tomorrow afternoon. So if you're new, jump in, or if you have friends that are new on board, send them over and they can ask any questions. Everybody go vote twice a day at plsfolio.com. Is there anything else we need to mention?
Keep those votes coming in. That's cool. That's good. Because that's a good site. A lot of people are using that. Enjoy all those extra tokens you're getting down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good chatting with you guys. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for showing up, man.
Yeah, thanks for everybody
Good weekend.
Thanks for everybody that showed up and talked, and it was good. We'll see you guys again on Monday.
Yep. Take care.
All right, you too, man. Cool. Hey, we made it, man. I was nervous. I was like, I got to do spaces by myself. Well, not really. Yeah, there they are, man. Right there. Best community on Pulse Chain. Yeah. I agree with you, man. Is there another one that meets multiple times a week? I cut my midweek stream, my stream on Wednesday. I'm cutting it out so I can make videos because I want to make videos that are, I'm leaning into my YouTube channel so I can bring people on Pulse Chain. So I'm like, that's got to go. And we're so slow right now. Like if things start picking up, I told Zan, if things start heating up, I'll probably be inclined to resume the midweek stream. But yeah, for now, cutting it out. There you go, Paul. You get your moment of fame. You are welcome, Paul Gahn. Guys, thanks so much for showing up. Really means a lot. And it's cool to be comrades in the same trenches. Yeah, man. All right, guys. Go have a great Saturday. Prairie Banana out.